All right, I'm just going to go straight into TRVL and let's have a look at what's going on. Um, so I mean, I kind of had this idea that maybe we were going sideways like this, and I drew that a few days ago, kind of like this. Seems to have played out, but the reality is that even though we have put the point of control in this lower range, and we've kind of reclaimed it as support, so we're holding support here at 5.5. The reality is that I do think possibly that we're kind of flagging a little bit, and we'd have to see a significant sign of strength here. It would have to go up like that, flip the weekly, and we'd have to kind of impulse. We'd have to do that straight away. So I'm not really seeing kind of impulsiveness the way we've seen before. Impulsiveness, it's very different. So it still looks corrective to me. And on that basis, I was just thinking to myself, actually, maybe we want to go and test these lows again one more time. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now. I know not 100%, but it could make sense. I just wanted to bring up my EW count here and then just go over it one more time just to see. So go to this medium time frame. This is where the impulse began. Got like a 1 there, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's have a look at this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One, two, three, 4, 5. I mean, it is possible that that was the end with the last wave 5. Just trying to figure this out. Where does it end? Does it end there or there? Possibly there. And then you're kind of counting ABCs. So I'm just going to roughly do it. ABC, ABC, ABC. C. So I'm just wondering if we do have another this to go. Something like that. Like a final leg down here. I'm wondering if we have something like that to happen. It's still pushing, it's still going up. So, but it doesn't look impulsive to me, it looks corrective. People taking profit, getting backing, repositioning in, and they kind of make a little bit of gains here. And obviously we have a support that's holding here. Yeah, possibly that ended there, the final impulse, and then the idea here is that you've got kind of like some kind of zigzag, actually. Not a flat correction, a zigzag. And not sure where this one ends. This final bit ends, this middle bit. And so it does fit the pattern, doesn't it? What have we got here? So I'm not quite sure how far this, if it goes up to the weekly, that'll be nice. But just to kind of tap the weekly level, clear it of the liquidity, fill this high volume candle, fill that gap there. That would be perfect. And then you're kind of looking for something like this to sweep, a sweep of the lows. And then you're looking for a fib extension from wherever we put this pivot in. And then I was just thinking to myself, possibly the 618, just to take the lows, lose the 5-5 temporarily, come right back up. And we've had that kind of behavior in the past in the bull market. So if we go back to, when was it? It was this pump, wasn't it? This pump here. And briefly what happened was that for a short period of time we lost this level, and it was a failed auction of lows. It was immediately rejected, and we couldn't get back under. So it came to clear, test the lower level, and then it got rejected straight away. So kind of I was thinking to myself, it is possible to have a support level which looks like it's holding, to lose it and reclaim it, and then that's actually the kind of sign of strength that we're potentially looking for continuation. So in this context, if we do kind of lose that level, it might not be a sharp down and up the way I've drawn it. Kind of losing it. You have to get up, then impulse, and then do we come back for a test? I mean, it's possible. It's possible to go up and come back for one more test, or as you come up, you lose it, you come back up, there's the test, and then there's the impulse. Once you see that, you reclaim that level. That would be, so this is good. This shows us that this is support. And naturally, if people are looking to put limit orders, they could. But I don't really see that kind of behavior. I don't see people just blindly putting limit orders on TRVL at the moment. Maybe because it's not liquid enough. And so what I'm seeing is that people just wait for it to bottom out and then they start buying on market. That's the trend of the price action. Okay, so you can see here actually, why is that? See, this is it's got conflicting data. Let me see why that has done that. So if you go a bit lower, it's weird now. Not sure why. Just go to a higher time frame. It gives you slightly different results here, doesn't it? Not quite sure why it does that. If someone knows, let me know. But yeah, we're kind of holding the point of control now. For all intents and purposes, if we remain bullish and we get another pullback here, you could kind of just hold. That would be more bullish. So it'd be more bullish to hold a higher low here and not take out the lows. Okay, that would just tell you that there's a lot of people trying to buy this, and it just can't take out the low, and then we impulse. That in my mind is much more bullish than just taking the low. Taking the low would be correct because it would just be the way the price moves. It likes to kind of do that. Hit the 618, and you need a reclaim, and then maybe we can actually kind of impulse. That's kind of what I'm looking for. And then you have your some kind of ABC type correction here, zigzag, and then you would want to see an impulse, because if you don't see an impulse, then we're still range bound in this kind of corrective range. Then you ideally want to go up and flatten out, but a worse situation, a worse case scenario here would be if you do kind of go down and you can't get that level for whatever reason, and then actually you're probably heading for lower. Okay, and then you're more like something like more like that. Okay, so there are kind of possibilities here of how it could correct, and I think ultimately it's all going to depend on how Bitcoin behaves. And Sometimes when Bitcoin does correct, this doesn't pull back as much because people are still kind of ultra bullish looking for higher. And, you know, and it's hard to fill when after you sell at these levels. And so obviously if someone is trying to fill a larger position, if they try to dump a large position, it'll be much harder for them to fill unless there's a bigger, more kind of substantial move to the downside. And so therefore I think it's more likely than not people don't sell, except anyone who's basically longed up here and is slightly underwater. And that's probably what these sells are. I think a lot of these selling is just people who are a little bit underwater. It hasn't continued and they're thinking, okay, let me just exit and then reevaluate my entry. More likely than not, because otherwise if people wanted to take profit, they would have taken profit at 6.7 cents, because that was above and beyond 5.5, which was the natural resistance. And so therefore in that single move, if you kind of just go through your resistance and you're up higher, then you'd be thinking, okay, actually maybe we're going to go back down and test, and so therefore I'll quickly take a little bit of profit just in case we do. I think most people, if they wanted to, would have taken profit by now. And then also obviously coming back up now is an opportunity for people, if they haven't taken profit, to take profit. Here we're trading at 6 cents right now, coming up to this weekly level, and clear it of liquidity and then correct. So possibly I'm thinking we're still correcting. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. About that. About that. Wherever this pivot goes in, and then you've got this trend-based extension, then you'll be looking for kind of something, kind of ABCs all the way down to where the price finds support, probably where Bitcoin finds support as well. Probably that's kind of what I'll be looking at. Here is a good area, kind of here we see these candles. If it does kind of stop here, then you see where these 4-hour candles, you've got a little bit of an SR flip potentially that would line up with a 618 if this is the pivot, or roughly around where the pivot is now. So there's a little bit of a potential SR flip slightly lower. Maybe the price needs to actually come down here, clear, fill the gaps, and then what you really want to see is a failed auction underneath 5.5. We definitely want to see this quickly. We don't want to be lingering down here for too long. The longer, if we come down underneath 5.5 and we start lingering for a longer period of time, then actually you're probably looking to go down more, probably. Yeah, you're probably not looking to go back up. You're probably looking for another wave or another leg down. And you'll have some natural one-to-one target, which would be somewhere about 4.9, and based on this, and then you've got your extended targets, which would actually still be okay. It would be coming into backtest the neckline of some kind of SR flip here. There is some kind of SR flip going on here. I think that's probably your worst case scenario here, and for a lot of people that's still kind of a large amount of drop to swallow. You know, we were to come to an extended correction, because you're down 28%, but a more bullish correction. Obviously the most bullish correction would be to hold a higher low here at the 5.5 from the current price. That's about 6-7%. But obviously if we go down to the 618, if we do put a pivot here, we're down 12%. Again, the volume makes it difficult to trade at the moment, so you'd have, if you've got a bigger position, you know, got to think about how you're going to play this out. But this is kind of what I'm thinking right now. I think if we want to impulse now, it would have to just kind of now, we'd have to now start to impulse. Yeah. So if this is like, I don't see impulsiveness right now. It's not looking impulsive, but it's always possible for someone to come in and market buy, push the price up there with the first kind of impulsive move, a little bit of a FOMO move. Then you've got your, that would be your impulsive move. You've got kind of ABC. Then you'll be looking for a back test of the weekly, and potentially then we are actually impulsing. Okay, but I can't see it right now. You're not seeing kind of impulsiveness right now. A natural flip would be that weekly level if that was to happen. Yeah, so you'd want to, if we suddenly saw a large order come in, say 5 million TRVL, whatever, took the price right up to like 7 cents or something, then we have a corrective move, then you'd want to see that would be your wave one, and then you'd be looking, then actually this was corrective, this was correct, that was your ABC, and then you had your impulse, and then you'd be looking, that's kind of what you're expecting, and then you'd be looking to take the highs for a higher high on the daily time frame. This would be your higher low, and then you'd be looking for ABC correction to come and back test this kind of neckline at the weekly for continuation for the next move, basically. So this is the most, honestly, this is literally the most bullish scenario. But I think, I mean, again, I'm just looking at Bitcoin, and I don't know, I kind of have this kind of gut feeling that maybe the New York session could potentially pull Bitcoin back and pull back the altcoins, at least to start with. When you're looking at these higher time frame candles, this weekly candle is a take profit, but we have cleared the liquidity from the highs. Yeah, so this is kind of the next retrace before the next kind of push down potentially. And so we've had that before, where we go down 2 red weeks to some kind of support levels. Yeah, you see 2 red weeks, and then we had a kind of continuation. The flatter the better. And so if we can somehow hold this week, this 5.5 over the next week, then that would be a miracle for, well, not a miracle, but that would be amazing. All right, so that's kind of my daily TRVL updates at the moment. We'll see what happens with the price. Looking at other things, TRVL, comparing it to other things. Let's have a look against Airbnb. And it's looking quite strong against Airbnb, isn't it? Looking quite strong. It'd be nice to start making some inroads into these higher prices back to where the price was back in April 22 or this January 22, kind of there. That would be quite interesting to see. And so let's have a look at this. This is against Pancake Swap. Yeah, Pancake Swap is just generally quite weak at the moment. This is against Fetch. So this is quite interesting. Against Fetch, we've also broken the 236, and we've come back to test it a little bit. Already today, this daily candle is showing a lot of strength. So I do get this kind of sense that Fetch, that TRVL is actually more bullish than Fetch at the moment. And we've kind of broken this trend line. So again, if we do kind of pull back a little bit, maybe against Fetch, it'll be nice to just kind of hold this level, at the very least, that trend line. It's against Slurf. So high, and we've taken out the low. So it's kind of range bound, isn't it, against Slurf? They're kind of going up and down together. We're right back at the low of this value area low. You see that? That was actually a good place to pull back into TRVL. as Slav was pulling back, TRVL was holding. You see that? So it's kind of, when did that happen? That was yesterday at the very low. See that? That was actually, we look, it's kind of respecting these areas really nicely. This value area low. I'll get rid of those ABCs because that's just rubbish. Still potentially kind of putting in higher lows, higher highs. If you look at this kind of price action on the 3-day chart, high, 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 low, high, high. Maybe that's a higher low. Maybe the next one is a high, high. It's possible. So we like to see how it behaves at the pullback. It's quite a lot of volume in it. A lot of volume here, pushing it down. Don't know what that means really. So look at this one. This is against crypto others. So we kind of had a little bit of a failed auction above this 236, but the structure is still quite good. High, 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 low. We've come into this neckline, so I do think that it would be nice for this 5.5 cent level to hold, because that would be perfect. That's like a perfect V-shaped recovery, isn't it? V-shape, and then you're back in testing the neckline. If we do test it again, that's fine, and then we kind of want to go up and take that high for continuation. That's kind of what needs to happen next for bullish continuation. What's this one? Booking.com. All right, so kind of, yeah, I mean, TRVL is more bullish than all of this stuff. So that's fun.